shut up.
Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give me peace.
Why so serious?
You take the blonde and I'll take the one in the tailor.
This is Sparta!
I'll have what she's having.
Welcome to another installment of the Screen Squad. Like always, I'm Vinny.
I'm Ozzy.
And Edgar.
I can't go back to jail.
That's a fast start. It's a fast start. This week, we're talking about another video game adaptation that came
Hot
out
Garbage?
in 2002.
Hot garbage time machine.
It's not hot. It's not hot garbage.
Hot garbage.
No, it's
It's not. It's
Hot
not.
garbage time
No,
You're
machine.
out of
it's
your
not.
mind. You're out of your mind. It's an enjoyable movie. We're talking about 2002's Resident
Man.
Evil. Paul
Yeah.
W.S. Anderson's Resident Evil. The man who brought us Mortal Kombat.
no. Paul W.S. Jovovich.
Oh, that's true. That's true. This is actually where they met on this movie, and then after this, they ended up having a couple children's together.
Yeah.
It's 2002. The Paul W.S. Anderson had just done, I guess, Soldier. I think was the last movie he did before this one. Soldier,
Oh, the Kurt Russell movie.
the Kurt Russell movie where he got paid all that money to say a couple words,
Like 43 words.
something like
The whole
that.
movie.
42? 42?
Probably it was super,
38?
I don't know.
38?
I think it was. I thought it was 15, but that's just me.
40?
That's just me. But
Jason Scott Lee had more lines in that movie.
he had more lines in The Jungle Book.
Yeah.
No, but you have
God,
it's,
isn't Dragon good?
it's 2002. It's 2002.
It's a good fucking movie.
Did we need a video game adaptation for Resident Evil? No. Is it a
You
bad
know,
movie?
no.
No.
But they're riding the popularity of the game at the time.
Right.
It was that time.
Okay.
the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
The game was very popular. You
Yeah,
know,
they didn't wait like 20 years like they did with fucking Doom and ruin that shit too.
Plus, he had done Mortal Kombat.
yeah, and Mortal Kombat was a success. You know,
Financially.
financially, yeah, it wasn't the greatest movie, but it is a fun movie to watch. We
Mm.
talked about that.
It's a great movie, too.
It's a fun movie to watch, and then
You guys stop using great. Stop using great.
I like great.
You
it's
go-
my,
Passable.
it's my word of the day.
it's
passable.
it's the new trash.
It's on my calendar for word of the day.
Yeah,
Great.
So you go from you
It's fucking unbelievable is what it is. He's fucking great.
you have
love it.
you have Paul W.S. Anderson who went from Mortal Kombat, Event
Royal
Horizon,
Tenenbaums, right?
Event Horizon. No, that's a different. That's P.T. Anderson. That's Paul Anderson. That's a different Anderson. That's
that
a
Wes
different.
Anderson?
No, that's Wes Anderson.
Not
this is
Barnum?
This is Paul W. Anderson.
It's the Great Showman now.
No, that's different. No, so you go from a guy who did who
P.T.
did
Barnum like that. Okay.
the guy who did Mortal Kombat, then he did Event Horizon, and then he did Soldier. He did a few movies that not all of them were successes. He hadn't
Based on reality.
he hadn't had a huge success, and Resident Evil had been, I guess, at this point had been eyed to be made a movie at one point, and it was going to be done by George Romero at one point.
That would have
Yeah, I
been
think
kind of
He
interesting.
wrote a script, right?
Oh, and I read the script. I actually read the script. It's online.
Wow.
You can see. You
So?
can read it online.
And?
And it follows more of the game. It has game characters, right? It has Chris Redfield. Okay, just full disclosure. The reason why we're talking about Resident Evil is because the Resident Evil Village game just came out. I literally just finished playing the game. 10-hour long game, not that long. But it's a really fun game, and it gave us the idea. Let's go back and revisit 2002's Resident Evil.
So, sorry, you said us? Us?
Yeah,
The idea?
us. I don't
that
know how I
shit.
was involved in that either.
Like I didn't
It's
even know the game came out.
It's the collective.
Fuck that game.
It's the collective us.
Fuck the game. Fuck the game.
You're so
Saying.
angry. You need to relax.
Because the first game was good, then the rest of them just kind of like, okay, let's just throw a bunch of random shit in there.
You don't even play those games, so how do you even
No,
know?
but I've watched you play it so many times.
No,
I was
no.
more entertained by the first one than anything else. Plus, the story in the first one was pretty dope because wow, so look at me, trying to find out where these people are. Yeah, it was a little more entertaining, like story wise, in the first one than all the rest of them. The rest of them just kind of like, oh, let's put a bunch of video together and like random action.
You're out
for
of
you
your
in there.
mind. You're out of your mind. You don't know what
I
you're
am,
talking about.
but you know what?
You don't know what you're talking about. First off,
Fuck this
Yeah,
movie.
I was born a rambling man.
yeah, seriously, you're just talking nonsense right now. But it's the first the first Resident Evil game, you're introduced to Chris Redfield. You're introduced to to the mansion. You're introduced to Raccoon City. Some of those elements were translated into the movie, not all. Literally just very small pieces. It's like the movie was made. It could have taken place at the same time the story in the video game took place. But I think the reason why the movie is vastly different than the actual game is because
They want to make Mila Jovovich an action star.
no. Paul W.S. Anderson had already written a movie about zombies, and all he did was he took that movie that he wrote years before, and he tweaked it to make it a Resident Evil movie. That's all he did. Because the George A. Romero movie, the one that he was gonna make, was a lot closer to the game. It was
Rest in peace, brother. Rest in peace.
It was a lot closer to the game.
Maybe he's still walking around. You don't know.
It's true. The dead walk. No, but it is
Him and Walt Disney.
It is a lot closer. It is a lot closer to the game, the movie, at least with character wise, with the stars team and all that. Like those are a lot of things that are missing from this movie. But by no means is this movie horrible. It's an enjoyable movie, and it does feel Resident Evil like. You have a bioweapon that's being released by the Umbrella Corporation not released, but still, let's talk about the movie then. 2002's Resident Evil. The movie starts off with a heist, someone stealing the T virus, and then as they're stealing the T virus, they toss a sample of it, breaking it, releasing it into the Hive, which is under Raccoon City. The Hive Queen, the Red Queen, which at this point starts off her safety protocols and kills all the employees, everyone in the Hive. Cut to Mila Jovovich's Alice character wakes up with amnesia, meets a cop. At this point I already forgot his name because he's.
Wait, did it happen 28 days later?
No. By the way, this is one of the movies that started like the zombie thing to happen, to the resurgence in the 2000s. After this,
Not Return of the Living Dead.
No, not Return of the Living Dead.
Good movie, by the way.
No rain dancing. No zombie rain dancing. But she gets Mila Jovovich's Alice gets taken down into the Hive by a group of mercenaries who are sent to recover and save some information from the Hive, and that's pretty much, you don't get any. That's the one thing about this movie. You don't get zombies until like way late in the movie. You get more technology. Like the best scene of the movie is the laser scene. That's like one of the biggest scenes that you see in anything. When you think of Resident Evil, you think of that laser scene where the one laser takes out three soldiers.
Yeah.
That's like the best scene of the movie. And you do get your zombies, but like way later in the movie when they come out. And by the time they come out, they're not really that imposing. Like they're not scary zombies or anything. Like,
well, it's like the video game, like the original.
No, because in the original video game, they looked like they had already rotted in their mouth. Their teeth were showing. You didn't get that.
There's
much.
something like that.
Yeah, but it's like really, really bad. I think, in my opinion, it's
called
really
England.
bad. I think it's really bad CGI on some of them. But what I do like is they used some of the they kind of gave a reason why some of the dogs in the video game were skinless. Because in the movie they kind of show that the dogs had to chew their way out of their cages, and it kind of just ripped them apart when they broke out of their cage. I did like that they gave that little backstory on it, because in the game the dogs just show up and they're already like
skinless.
Yeah, skinless and just rotting. But then from there, the whole point of the movie.
Like that
the whole point of the movie is the mercenaries are going down to find out what happened. All these dead people show up, and you come to find out that it's like a quick little heist and mystery of who is the person that started this whole reason. Because the mercenaries believe the Red Queen just went nuts to just kill everyone, but then they find out someone actually.
Hey, all I know is Billy Joe said that he didn't start the fire, so that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. Unleash the T virus. It's a simple movie. It's a fast paced movie.
Yeah, the
rated-
music is
yeah.
the music is it's just nonstop the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah, and it's like there for it being rated R, it doesn't feel rated R because there's not a lot of gore. I think the only reason it's rated R is because you see slight Mila Jovovich huge nipples. I think that's about it, and some like nudity. That's about it. That's all. That's all. Because other than
it's the type of visual that's in there, not the slight nudes. Sorry.
yeah,
Plus
but
language.
yeah, but
I
other
mean,
than
like,
that, that's still gonna be PG-13.
2 fucks, you get an R. So it's
Yeah,
fine.
but other than
I
that,
mean,
it's like
we're
there's-
rated R.
for it being a zombie movie, for it
Just
being
because of you.
for it being Resident Evil, like
Fuck.
you would expect there to be a lot more gore. Like in your typical zombie movie, you should see gore, but you don't really see that much gore in this movie.
Because it's supposed to set things up.
You do see a
you're-
lot of nods to Romero movies, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
because they're zombies.
No, not just that, but like certain scenes.
Because without Romero, there is no zombies.
No, because certain
He
scenes.
does have a point.
certain scenes were lifted from like other the
that's
Romero movies. Like if you watch at the very end, the whole Dead Walk newspaper, that was also from one of the Romero movies. Exactly the same thing. It says the Dead Walk.
Also, when they open when they're trying to punch in that code in the door and it opens up and then all the zombies
Yeah.
drag that guy in like
Yeah.
that like in the mall, the Dawn of the Dead.
So it's a lot of stuff is taken from the
Oh,
Romero.
Dawn of
movie.
the Dead's an awesome.
That's
movie.
why I think it would have been
Like
it would
the
have been
original
it
better.
would have been interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I think it would have been better if they would have let Romero make George A. Romero make the
or
movie.
or at least use a Romero like script.
Yeah, or even use a script that's a lot more closer
Yeah.
to the game,
Yeah,
more closer
you
to
don't
the
always
story.
you don't always have to have his eye on it at the time while it's alive. But yeah, if you would use a script, you had someone else's vision, use someone else's idea.
Yeah,
That'd be
I mean,
nice.
if you Google Resident Evil and George A. Romero,
I'm not gonna.
you'll see the commercial he directed for Resident Evil. I think it was
Really?
Code Veronica or Resident Evil. I'm sorry. I think it's Resident Evil 2. They actually asked Romero to direct a commercial, and he directed a Resident Evil commercial for the game, which led to him being attached to direct the movie. But he wrote the drafts, and they didn't take them. And at that point, the only other person that they had a couple other directors, but the one person that had already done a video game adaptation to some success was Paul W.S. Anderson. And
I don't know, it's just me, but we're gonna do a zombie movie. Why not just still have George Romero, put his touch on it, because he is the father of zombies, if that makes any sense.
right, no, it makes sense, right? It makes
Yeah.
sense to what's going on. But
I mean, in the movie studio's defense, I mean, Romero did make a bunch of other zombie movies that weren't really successes.
but zombie movies,
But
prior
you
to
can't say, hey, we do zombies. Let's do zombies. What are we gonna do? Let's do a movie with like a virus that tells you like how they came out. Ooh, you know what? Romero might be nice to tell you how, at least get his input on like how zombies are supposed to work.
yeah, but
By the way, the virus we're talking about is a T virus.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But zombie movies at that time prior
Now.
to the 2000s weren't like super popular. They were all considered before this like B movies, right? They weren't theatrical releases until
No, but this movie is basically B movie caliber.
I mean,
but
it's a video game adaptation.
with an A movie budget,
I mean-
because of like the title of the movie.
Except for my only complaint. That monster, the CGI monster.
The liquor?
Huh?
The liquor?
I've seen a liquor store there.
No, that's the guy. That's the monster's name. It's the liquor
Oh,
with the tongue. The liquor.
that's what they call
Weird.
it.
Which
That
mind you,
was my nickname years ago.
dick liquor. But no. But that it's interesting you bring that the liquor. It's interesting you bring the liquor up because the liquor wasn't introduced in the game. Like it's not prominent until like I think the second Resident Evil. In the first Resident Evil, you have other monsters. You have Tyrant. You have all this other stuff. I like that they have the nod to Tyrant, closer to not even Tyrant. They have the Nemesis program at the very end. Like it would have been a little like to at least follow the game instead of the liquor. Maybe have like the Tyrant. Would have been better to have Tyrant in there because that's more tied to the first movie. The first
Wait, who's in the second one?
Mila Jovovich,
Mila Jovovich.
No, but I mean, no, someone who's not her.
Mike Epps.
Okay, never mind. I'm just keep trying to figure out.
See, that's the
I
thing.
keep
This movie-
picturing in my head Jason Statham for some reason.
No,
something.
no. This movie did do well enough to warrant what
Sequels.
12 sequels.
Too many
six more
fucking
sequels?
movies.
16?
Too many.
16?
I don't know. It's a lot of sequels.
Fucking movies.
It's a lot of
Why?
sequels.
Why?
Because people like Resident Evil. Although
That's a lot of stupid people out
There's
there.
a new one coming out too.
Ozzy, can you
They're
just
doing a new one.
can you just shut the fuck up for a second? You just
Yeah,
constantly.
didn't they make Monster Hunter?
Someone's
Same
gonna
shit,
hold
right?
on. Someone's gonna get muted right now if you doesn't relax. I'll mute you, bitch. I'll mute you, bitch. No. So you have the. I think out of all the movies, I think it's seven Resident Evil movies. Only the first one is good. Is better written or just better overall.
Decent. It's
I
passable.
like the last one.
Well, no, the last one I fell asleep. I remember watching it in Japan and falling asleep. It was like not a good
Jet
movie.
lag. That's jet
No,
lag.
no. It was just not a
Man,
good movie.
just
Even when
showing
I rewatched it,
off
now-
that he traveled. Fucking
even after like even later when after I bought it because I bought the collection that came with all the movies, I still can't watch the last one. I can watch Resident Evil 3D, the one where they introduced Chris Redfield, because at that point they started using more aspects of the video games that felt more, and then when you get into the next one, Afterlife, you get more connections to the movie itself, to the video games.
Isn't he in on SNL?
So the last movies they started to get more closer to the video games, but the other one, 2, 3, and I think 2 and 3, 4, whatever, whichever
Yeah,
ones
see how it goes.
are real bad. Like they're real stupid, especially Apocalypse, in my opinion, like the Resident Evil Apocalypse. But when you go back and you think of like what they did with the first Resident Evil, the movie, they did set up the Alice character to be the hero throughout. And she's not bad in it. Mila Jovovich and Alice's
But didn't
character.
Anderson like direct almost all of them?
Oh, he directed all of them.
Yeah, so why wouldn't she be the hero?
Well,
It's like Rob Zombie putting in what's her name?
Sherry Moon.
Sherry
is-
Moon in every movie.
It's just like a liquor store owner, like, hey, stop that.
The only difference is that I like Mila over Sherry.
Yeah, wow.
How dare
Mila
you?
Mila Jovovich is a better actress. What Sherry Moon is
Okay.
trash.
Great. I think you meant great.
Oh great.
Yeah.
I think she's cool, but she plays the same character all the time. It's kind of like Robert De Niro plays the same character all the time.
So you're comparing Sherry
Yes.
Moon Zombie
Yes,
to Robert De Niro.
she is literally the same thing all the time.
You already
So is Robert De Niro. Pacino at least has some range, but he always kind of.
What would Pacino say?
I don't know, but that's not the point. The point is, it's no.
No, so I mean, you do get all those sequels, trying to complete the Alice character. She has power, she doesn't. But in this movie, she just starts off as a normal agent, I guess, also working for the Umbrella Corporation. She like none of the actors in this movie are bad. The writing might be bad, but
Michelle Rodriguez.
it doesn't take you out. Like Michelle Rodriguez's character, which she was only in the movie because she was a big fan of the Resident Evil video game. And
She's also a badass. Just me.
and
She's badass.
she had asked her agent that if there ever was a Resident Evil movie that was going to be made, that she wanted to be part of it. So she actually requested to be, in the movie, and they had to write her a bigger part, so she could be in the movie.
But she at the time was a legit, action star. Like she can actually pull off an action role.
are you talking about?
I'm sorry.
Who?
Girl fight.
That's not
Michelle Rodriguez.
that has
Fifth Element.
Okay, again, But this movie,
That's not Michelle.
the
Michelle
main.
Rodriguez
oh,
wasn't in.
fucking hate that
Michelle,
movie, by
Michelle
the way.
Rodriguez
Fucking
wasn't in,
hate that movie.
But Michelle Rodriguez wasn't in Fifth Element.
Oh,
No,
I
that was-
thought you were- yeah.
No,
No,
but
no,
no. See, but
but
see, that's
it'd
that's the
be
one
beef-
good thing. One good thing about this movie is that it actually solidified Mila as an action star.
What are you talking about? Again, Edgar.
Fifth Element?
Edgar just brought up Fifth Element.
Yeah, no, that was an intro to her, and this one just kind of cemented it. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Suck a dick.
You're wrong.
Suck a-
Because The
suck
Fifth
a dick.
Element is a great movie. That's another
for me-
great movie.
For me to take a shit on.
Yeah, whatever. You're so.
I almost said poop on, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to get. I literally do not want to get
Even
get,
though he
like,
just
angry
said it.
letters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no.
know.
I was like, it's I can't go back to jail. I was just kind of thinking,
The only difference, we're not going to call you a triumph. We're going to call you a failure.
Yeah.
oh, you hilarious.
No, but so but the Resident Evil
Laugh.
franchise did live on after this movie. It did degrade a lot, but it doesn't take away from the fact that this first one is actually not a bad movie. It's enjoyable.
Out of all of them,
yeah.
this is the only one that's actually decent. Out of all of them, still fucking. Hate
This was good. Yeah, this was like still it's one of the top ones. It's actually the best one out of the
to me, it
series.
goes against this. Oh, cool. This for some reason it's kind of good. It
I don't know.
starts off, it gives me a lot of hope, and then it it stomps on my heart for some reason.
My favorite genre are zombie movies. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
So I like all of them,
I like
even
the
if they
original.
are trash.
I like the original.
I mean,
Bad
these are
Moving Dead.
definitely guilty pleasure movies, right? And I think
Yeah.
even James Cameron said that Resident Evil is one of his guilty pleasures.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
fuck him.
Roger Ebert didn't like it.
He that's what I read, right? He put Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil Apocalypse as one of the worst movies ever made.
He was
On the
shocked
list?
the second he saw it. Jaw-dropping performances. Yeah, I don't care. I'm
You
going to hell no
always
matter
use
what.
that joke. You always
You know
use
what
the same
though?
joke.
You
You've
know what
used
though?
it already.
You know what though? It was like dead silence. Crazy. I think that's what happened.
Wow.
Come on.
Wow. No, but no, he did put these part 1 and part 2 on a list of worst movies ever made. But again, these movies aren't for everyone, right? Like the Resident Evil movies, zombie movies in general aren't for everyone. I mean, not everyone can sit through zombie movies. Like I can no longer sit through Dead Alive because it just physically makes me nauseous. It's a good movie,
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
but it makes me nauseous.
It's hilarious. It's awesome.
But Resident Evil itself, it did.
I've seen a baby looks like
it
that
did
too in
sp-
real life.
like
Crazy.
it did like it's
Yeah.
weird because the movie ended up inspiring parts of certain games when it should have been the other way around, right? The games should have inspired the movies, and it was just back and forth. Like some things the game took from the movies, and then eventually when we get to the later Resident Evil movies, they started bringing more characters in from the games, which was I think that's a welcome change because the first movie, like I said, it does feel like it can live in the same universe as the very first movie, even if we don't have those characters, right? We don't have Chris Redfield, Barry Burton, or Wesker in the first one. But you still kind of feel like, okay, well, this could have taken place in the mansion also, or a different mansion that's connected to the hive with Umbrella. But this movie, you could tell again, it was written prior to being a Resident Evil movie because you have a lot of the Alice in Wonderland tones to it, right? You have Alice, you have the Red Queen, you have them going down the hole, like down into the hive. You have all like they were trying to use Alice in Wonderland as a template for this movie, right? Which I don't think totally fit the Resident Evil mindset, but it didn't take away from it.
I fucking hate it too. It's stupid. I don't like this movie. It's wrong. Why would they make it like this?
Yeah, but overall,
Fuck Anderson.
Go away.
overall, like the Resident Evil movie, the very first one, 2002's. If you haven't seen it and you're a fan of Resident Evil, or even if you have never played a Resident Evil game, it's not a bad movie to check out. And definitely check out the video games. Now that they're all coming out remastered, you had the first one remastered, you had Resident Evil 2 and 3 remastered, like on the PS4.
How good does that look though?
It looks great. It looks great.
Does it play the same way though?
The other two, yes. Resident Evil, the newer Resident Evils, the
Talking about
new
the
ones,
first one. That's all that matters. First one.
the new ones that are being released now are now in first-person shooters, like first-person mode. Which the seventh went back to like the roots of being more suspenseful and have more horror elements to it. The new one,
The
Resident Evil
seventh
Village,
one was great because it was in VR.
yeah, and then Resident Evil Village.
Are you trying to brag that you have VR now, Dick?
But then Resident Evil Village, the new one, it went to what Resident Evil 4 was, which a lot more action, which I think that lends more to a Resident Evil movie, right? If I because I do know that they're supposedly rebooting the franchise.
I hope they do and actually keep it like towards like the same feel as the first one.
They're going back to the beginning. I think they're going back to the mansion, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what I keep
They're
reading.
bringing back Redfield.
Yeah,
They're going to start with them.
They're gonna make it more again closer to the video games.
Yeah.
If they can figure out a way to blend the first game, which is the very first Resident Evil, with the suspense and the horror, and then
As Alice walks down the stairs to the hive, then here comes Valentine and Redfield.
you don't even need Alice anymore, right? Alice's story is done. Now you just do a story about the Stars team, right? Which is the team that has Chris Redfield. I think
you got to get Guillermo to do that one. Sorry.
I don't know. I have no idea who they would get for it. But I think with the state of video
Not
game
Romero.
movies now,
No, he's dead.
I think with the state of video game movies now, I think we would get better quality and
definitely.
And it'll be a lot in line more with the game story. But if they can meld the very first game with the fourth game, which was a more action-oriented type of story that involved Leon saving the president's daughter from the T-virus. And the thing is, the T-virus does eventually mutate. And if you go along with the movies, they do go along with mutations. You have the T-virus and you have the Las Plagas. You have all these other variations of the T-virus.
As all viruses do, by the way.
Yeah, but they use that in the movies as well. But with the reboot, I wish that they just stick if they stick closer to more of what the game is. Maybe just have it housed in the mansion itself and have it be a mystery. Because so far, if you do the through line of all the Resident Evil stories, it's a pretty compelling story. Like if you follow the storyline of the games.
I don't know. For some reason, I just keep picturing Jason Statham being part of the movie, part of the Stars team. For some reason, it just comes to mind. Him walking through.
It's because we just saw.
I think it's stuck in my head right now, kind of like with Wrath of Man.
Which is a great movie, by the way.
It's a fun movie.
Great movie.
Again, you're throwing great out too much, but still, it's good. Really, it's a pretty good movie.
The word of the day.
It's a violent movie. It's pretty cool.
It's a fun, just to get off topic. Wrath of Man.
It's like a typical Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, but there's like Wrath of Man.
Trash.
Is one of those movies where there are no heroes. It's not. There's no. It's a no hero movie. Everyone's a villain. That's what you end up. That's what makes the movie real good, like real great to watch.
Well, this one and the last one he did with McConaughey,
The
both
Gentleman.
good movies.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking that was the name, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't say it because I felt
Gentleman.
like if I fucked it up. But yeah. Good
No,
movie.
but overall, like with the Resident Evil franchise, if you want to start watching the movies, it even spawned the video game even spawned CG animated movies, which aren't great, but they're not bad. Overall, the live action Resident Evil franchise, apart from the first one being like the best of the series, degrades over time, but they're not bad movies to watch.
I degraded myself
except for the
over
last
time
one.
too.
The last one's very boring. But definitely, if you haven't seen Resident Evil, if you haven't seen the movie with Mila Jovovich, directed by Paul
It's the
W.
same
S.
fucking
Anderson,
movie all the time. No.
Don't believe Ozzy. Ozzy doesn't know movies. He's
in a bad mood today.
Something's wrong. I think it's his Menses. But
Menzies.
But definitely check out Resident Evil. If you and then again, as part of another as part of the W.S. Anderson film vault, go back and watch Event Horizon. If you haven't seen Soldier, watch Soldier. That's another movie that is interesting.
Royal Tenenbaums.
That's a different Paul Anderson.
No. What?
It's a different Paul Anderson. That one at least has some talent. But go back and watch Mortal Kombat. Go back and watch Event Horizon. Go back and watch.
Anything with Owen Wilson.
Go back and watch. You go back and watch Soldier,
Wow.
which they say it takes place in the Blade Runner universe. So definitely check out Resident Evil if you haven't. There are five or six other movies after that you can watch too. It's a whole catalog you can watch.
I can do a lot of things. Don't do it.
They're fun. I think
Watch
they're
the
fun
first
movies.
one. Watch the first one. I get that. Watch the first one. Kind of make you feel like you're gonna get into the whole story, and then just don't worry about the next ones.
They're
like
fun. I think they're fun movies.
The rest didn't happen.
It's a series of movies that warrants a watch if you haven't seen them. That's all I gotta say about that. Definitely watch Resident Evil. Mila Jovovich. You have action. You have horror.
What about Ang Lee's Hulk?
Shut your mouth, God, dude. Can you just calm down? Did you do cocaine at work or something? Can you calm down?
Sometimes maybe. I don't know. Hey, allegedly.
That's true.
Jesus.
Are you on coke?
No.
Gee, can you just shut the fuck
I
up
could
for a
use a
second?
Coke right now.
Hey, pay attention. Shut up. Shut up.
You've been snorting Parmesan cheese.
I guess so.
It's good Reggiano, son. I'll be goddamn. All right.
No, but definitely check out the Resident Evil movies. A lot of fun. You have action, you have horror, you have zombies, you have monsters. And if you're
By the way,
and if you play the Jesus Christ, Jesus, I'm trying
saying,
to finish this.
Just say horror, because it sounds like you've seen horror. There's plenty of horror. Like, what? It says you keep seeing horror.
Why am I put in this position? Why am I put in this position?
I made a promise to my mother, I swear. No days, Dia las Madres.
Yeah. So, on that note, guys,
Today is Happy Mother's Day.
This has been on that note. This has been Vinny.
This is Ozzy.
And Edgar.
We'll see you guys next week.
Goddamn.
Good afternoon.